into your eyes, then I realized that all I need is you in my life.
Brian McKnight has given us classic songs like Anytime and Back at One. He's also built quite the reputation as a man who has gotten into sticky situations when it comes to his love life. Through the years, his marriages, divorce, and allegations of being an absentee father have taken over the headlines. Don't forget you can gain access to this audio and one unreleased super messy video per month on RRG Patreon. Details are in the description box. Now, grab some popcorn and let's get into today's video. At the age of 20, Brian's girlfriend Julie sat him down and told him she was pregnant. He told All Black he asked her what they were going to do, and she told him she wasn't going to have the baby. Brian said he was relieved, but he later found out she changed her mind and decided to keep the baby. Wanting to do the right thing, they got married in 1990. Their son, Brian Jr., was born the same year, and 2 years later, they welcomed their second son, Nico. While they looked like a picture-perfect family, there was some major drama brewing. In November 2001, a woman named Patricia Driver gave birth to a baby girl named Brianna Kelly McKnight. And, you guessed it, Brian was confirmed to be the child's father, even though he was still married to Julie at the time. There aren't a lot of details about Brian and Patricia's relationship, but what we do know is Brian's marriage wouldn't survive. Brian and Julie got divorced in 2003 after 13 years of marriage. He told Oprah, Where Are They Now?, it was a mistake for him to get married at the age of 20. In an effort to give others some relationship advice, he said, when you decide to make a commitment to someone, make sure that person has everything you want. He also said, you shouldn't compromise on anything that you're looking for in a partner. Brian quickly moved on with Annalisa Moncal, a mother of two. They were so in love that Brian proposed to her on Valentine's Day, 2010, at his concert. She said yes, but the happy times wouldn't last. Just 2 months after getting engaged, TMZ uncovered court docs that showed Brian had allegedly fathered a baby boy with a woman named Miriam. Initial reports claimed the child was 1 at the time and that Brian was already paying child support. Months later, TMZ reported the child was actually 14 years old, which means he was conceived while Brian was still married to his first wife. Since Brian never filed court documents addressing Miriam's claims, the woman was awarded a default judgment of $11,388 per month in child support and $341,000 for back payments. Brian's rep was adamant the issue would be cleared up once Brian finally received the results of his paternity test. And his rep was correct. According to TMZ, the test proved Brian wasn't the father. So the judge threw out the case, and the singer was finally able to move on. He and Annalisa had their wedding set for July 2nd, 2011, but Brian decided to end things instead. He told Oprah, Where Are They Now?, that at the time of his proposal, he thought it was okay to compromise on some of the things he wanted, thinking that maybe they would come later on. He added, he had made enough mistakes in his love life, and he wasn't willing to make any more. In 2012, Brian found new love with pediatric neurophysiologist and mother of two, Leilani Mendoza. They met at a fitness convention and hit it off right away. But she let him know early on that she was no cheap thrill. When Brian agreed to visit her in her hometown of Seattle that following weekend, she told him if he thought he was going to visit her just to sleep with her, he should save his time and his money. Eventually, she said she could see how real and genuine he was. She told Oprah, Where Are They Now?, I've never been treated better. He treats me like gold. After 1 year of dating, they moved in together. In May 2017, Brian announced their engagement on Instagram, along with a picture of their smiling faces and a huge diamond on her finger. On January 31st, 2017, they got married in New York.
When I met my wife,
It's the first time I ever knew that love really existed. And you know me a long time. I wrote from what I saw everybody else doing, and now I'm writing about me. She has been my inspiration. She has been, every single song I've written since the day we met has been about our life and our love.
But their happiness was shattered by some family drama. In 2019, Brian's children, Brian Jr. and Brianna, decided to air him out on social media. Brian Jr. said not only did their dad abandon them, but he abandoned his grandkids as well. Brian Jr. said the situation broke his heart and their family didn't deserve to be treated that way. While stating that he had been trying to take the high road, Brian Jr. added, "There is a much bigger issue here when it comes to Black fathers, especially in entertainment, that need to be addressed." Brianna chimed in and wrote on Instagram, "Daddy's little girl was never really a thing for me. Nobody understands what I've been through except for my siblings." She went on to explain she grew up thinking her dad didn't want to visit her because he didn't love her. She also said it hurt to see him put Leilani's children before his own biological kids. Brianna said she could never get a hold of him on the phone, and he would never respond to her text messages. She was also hurt that her dad hadn't wished her a happy birthday in years. Brianna ended her message by saying she was fortunate that her two brothers were her father figures. According to the Jasmine brand, Brian denied the allegations and said his kids were just salty that he posted a picture of Leilani's son, Jack, on social media. Brian added he had been there for his children, always paid his child support on time, and was by their side every step of the way. Up until recently. Brian said when his sons reached their 20s, he helped them get an apartment. But after 2 years, he decided it was time to give them some tough love. Around the time he began dating Leilani, his sons became less and less financially responsible. Brian said Leilani was the one who tried to keep the relationship between him and his sons intact. However, he said his sons were ungrateful and have, quote, spit in her face at every turn. Leilani reportedly attempted to get them jobs at the hospital where she worked, but they couldn't stop smoking long enough to pass a substance test. Brian also accused Brian Jr. of breaking into his home and putting X's on the eyes of his and Leilani's wedding pictures, before replacing the picture with a photo of their mom, Julie. Due to those actions, Brian said he is estranged from his sons because they crossed the line. As far as Brianna, Brian said he was always on good terms with her until a few years prior, when he heard a family rumor regarding Brianna and an older cousin. Brian asked authorities to investigate the situation. He never heard anything about the case, but later found out Brianna's mother blocked him from contacting Brianna on social media. Brian said, "So what that told me was that they didn't want me to be involved in her life that way, considering her mother only had a child with me for money in the first place. I don't know where all this is coming from." The drama kept going in February 2021. Brian Jr. took to his Instagram and blasted his dad's fans for putting him and his siblings down for speaking out against him. As for this video, the family unit still appears to be strained. We hope Brian and his children will be able to mend their relationship, and we wish their family nothing but the best. Let us know your thoughts on Brian McKnight's dating history. And thanks for watching Real Reality Gossip.